Can you believe it? In the world of ants, there's a strange and mysterious phenomenon that few people know about. When faced with a drawn line, these tiny ants are unable to cross it. In fact, they can become exhausted and die right there. Hard to believe, right? What could cause these diligent ants to end up in such a bizarre situation? Join us as we explore these fascinating and surprising discoveries. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any amazing stories. Right now, if you're sitting outside and you see an ant diligently searching for its way back to the nest, take a pen and carefully draw a circle around it. And then, something magical happens. The ant seems trapped in that circle, unable to cross it. This phenomenon occurs because the scent of the ink disrupts the pheromone trails that ants use for navigation. Pheromones are chemical compounds that ants secrete and follow to find their way, locate food, and communicate with their colony. When the ink smell interferes with this trail, the ant becomes disoriented and doesn't dare cross the circle. Imagine the tiny ant, always determined and hard-working, suddenly trapped in an invisible yet very real circle. It will wander around, trying repeatedly but unable to find a way out. The helplessness and confusion are evident in its hesitant steps. This is not just an interesting experiment in animal behavior, but also a small story about persistence and challenges. In nature, many other animals exhibit similar behaviors to the ants. First is the story of the lions trained by Clyde Beatty, a famous lion tamer from the 1930s. He had a special secret to controlling the fierce lions that will surely surprise you. Clyde didn't just use a whip to control them. He also used a unique method: raising a chair with its legs facing the lion. It sounds simple, right? But in reality, this method was unexpectedly effective. The reason behind this method is extremely interesting. Lions, like many other animals, focus on a single target when preparing to attack. When Clyde raised a chair with 4 legs in front of them, the lion had to try to focus on all 4 legs at once. This confused and distracted them, not knowing where to attack. As a result, instead of charging, they would often stand still or retreat, allowing Clyde to maintain control. Clyde used this technique in circus performances and even when facing lions in their cages. Once, during a performance, he encountered an extremely aggressive lion named Nero. When Nero began to show dangerous behavior, Clyde quickly raised the chair. Like magic, Nero became confused and stopped, allowing Clyde to continue the performance safely. Next, if you flip a shark upside down, it will enter a temporary state of immobility. It sounds like a joke, but there is a scientific reason behind this phenomenon. When a shark is flipped upside down, they enter a state of tonic immobility. In this state, the shark's body becomes rigid, and they cannot move, as if frozen. This is a natural reflex to avoid being attacked by other predators. Researchers often use this technique to examine and tag sharks. They flip the shark upside down, causing it to enter a state of immobility, allowing them to work safely without worrying about being attacked. Sometimes, sharks maintain this state for several minutes, enough time to conduct necessary experiments and observations. Similarly, did you know that flipping a crocodile upside down and stretching its neck can render it immobile? In this situation, the vestibular system in the inner ear of the crocodile becomes disoriented. This system helps them maintain balance and recognize their position in space. When flipped upside down, the signals from the inner ear to the brain are disrupted, causing the crocodile to enter a state of tonic immobility, similar to the aforementioned sharks. In this state, the crocodile becomes rigid, as if pretending to be dead, a clever defense mechanism to avoid the attention of predators. What's more amazing is that stretching the crocodile's neck in this state increases the vestibular disruption, making them completely helpless and immobile. The image of a Boreas' fierce predator becoming weak and vulnerable is truly surprising. But the wonders of the animal world don't stop there. Have you ever driven at night and suddenly seen a deer standing still like a statue in the middle of the road when your headlights shine on it? Why does it stand still like that? This happens because a deer's eyes are highly adapted to low light conditions. When exposed to strong light from headlights, the deer becomes disoriented and cannot determine the distance between where they are standing and the object emitting the light. The reason lies in the special structure of a deer's eyes, which have more rod cells than cone cells. Rod cells help deer see clearly in low light conditions, but do not function well under bright light. When headlights shine into their eyes, the light is too strong, causing the deer to be dazzled, disoriented, and unable to determine distance. As a result, they stand still, hoping that not moving will help them avoid the attention of predators or danger. Moreover, many bird species tend to avoid areas with owl eye decals. The reason is that they perceive it as the gaze of a predator watching them. According to research at Linfield College in the United States, sparrows fear and avoid areas with owl eye images, while they do not react similarly to a cardboard box of the same size. This shows that birds recognize the owl eye image as a threat. In fact, farmers and gardeners have also found the effectiveness of using fake owl models to protect their crops. Many have used fake owls to scare away woodpeckers and other birds from their orchards. According to reports from Cornell University, fake owls can scare away birds for a short time, but this effectiveness decreases as birds get used to the presence of the fake owl and realize it's not a real threat. However, if the model is not moved or its position is not frequently changed, birds will gradually recognize it as a harmless object. To maintain effectiveness, people often move the owl model or combine it with other deterrents such as sounds or moving objects. Additionally, on social media, people often share funny videos of cats being scared of cucumbers, a natural and quite humorous reflex. They often jump back or run away as if encountering an invisible monster. You might think cats hate cucumbers, but this isn't entirely true. One main reason is their natural instinct. They might mistake the cucumber for a snake, their arch enemy, triggering their run immediately mode to stay away from the snake. Indeed, sometimes instincts can make things unexpectedly funny. Moreover, in the late 1800s in Tennessee, USA, a famous breed of goat exhibited a phenomenon called fainting. They don't actually faint. Rather, their muscles stiffen when startled, causing them to fall over like a domino effect. This phenomenon stems from a genetic disorder called myotonia congenita, which prevents the muscles from relaxing immediately after being stimulated. When a Tennessee goat is startled, its muscles stiffen, causing it to fall for a few seconds before getting up and continuing its life as if nothing happened, and they don't feel any pain. This unique phenomenon in goats is due to a mutation in the CLCN1 gene. This gene affects the chloride ion channel, which helps muscles relax. When startled, the goat's muscles cannot relax immediately, causing them to become stiff and fall over before they can run away. And there's more. Horses, a very familiar animal to us, often feel scared and avoid walking through puddles. This is because when they encounter a puddle, they cannot gauge its depth and don't know if there is any danger underneath. It's like stepping into a puddle without knowing how deep it is or if there are any foreign objects beneath. This uncertainty and fear of getting stuck cause horses to shy away from puddles. However, this sensitivity helps horses avoid potential dangers. In fact, many horse owners have shared quite humorous and even touching stories about their horse's fear of puddles. On the horse forum, a user recounted how their horse would always jump back or avoid puddles, and how it took a lot of time and patience to help them overcome this fear. In real life, There are cases of horses getting stuck in mud and needing help to get out, which further increases their fear of unclear depths in water bodies. Similarly, some dogs might feel scared when crossing glass stairs or glass floors. This is because dogs might not perceive the glass as a solid surface they can walk on safely. They might see through the glass and think it's an empty space, leading to feelings of insecurity and fear. This is a normal reaction to open spaces or heights, part of their natural instinct to avoid falling or colliding. So, if you have a dog, you should be aware of this and help them get used to glass surfaces or find alternative solutions to reduce their stress when moving through such areas. Furthermore, if you draw a salt circle around a snail, it will avoid crossing it. Snails have very sensitive bodies to salt because they are invertebrates with thin skin. Salt can draw water out of a snail's body through osmosis, causing severe dehydration and damage. For this reason, snails typically avoid crossing salty areas. When they detect salt, they can sense the danger and will try to avoid crossing the area to protect themselves. Some fish species will avoid their own shadows, mistaking them for another fish and fearing an attack. Fish often have quick reactions to any sudden images or movements in their environment, including shadows. This is due to their natural self-defense instinct aimed at avoiding potential predators. Fish also use their vision as an important part of their communication and navigation in their surroundings. Therefore, when they see their shadow without recognizing it, they might mistake it for another fish and potential threat. Depending on the species and habitat, these reactions can vary. But generally, fish tend to avoid or react cautiously to anything unclear or new. Finally, did you know that the Nações and Reda churches in Brazil used a unique method to deter pigeons? They placed brightly colored panels around the church to make the pigeons dizzy and stay away from the area. This is a humane and harmless measure, based on the principle that bright colors and movement can create visual disturbances for pigeons, making them feel uncomfortable and move elsewhere. Research and practical experiences show that using reflective or brightly colored objects can disrupt and deter birds from unwanted areas. For instance, colorful fabric strips or wind turbines placed in areas where birds usually perch can scare them away. Nature is always full of wonders and surprises. Each little story gives us deeper insights into the natural world, reminding us that, despite the challenges, there is always a way to overcome them with perseverance, creativity, and the ability to overcome obstacles. If you enjoyed the video, please share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any exciting upcoming videos.